some overlap
his
there.
stuff is usually pretty good. Like his movie Chef was great, and he did The Mandalorian. All of that was like his brainchild. I'm like 90% sure. So I think Disney had a lot of their hands like going like, no, you must do this, appeal to the millennials with the mods, or like, I don't know.
The mouse had a stick in his hand. He was just standing there and he's like, you think you can write whatever you want, Mr. Favreau? Ha, sorry.
Yeah, no, that definitely sounds like what would happen. Because like the biggest thing is there's a show that David and I watch, and I think we've mentioned it a few times before, and that's Jotaro's Bizarre Adventure. It's an anime. It's a cartoon for adults. Pretty, I wouldn't watch it with your kids kind of thing. And it's
Just like
a
this
very,
podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Don't let them hang out here. This is pretty rough. Except theirs is for violence and ours isn't, and ours is
it's
just
actually JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Just want to get that out there.
Jotaro's the only JoJo that matters. So the way the show works, the premise made me really frustrated because of what shows are popular right now, and it was just so different. Where it's a generational show, so every season there's a new main character, and it's like down a family line. And then it starts to go off to like distant family members, and like the main character changes every time. So every season, everything you knew up to that point can completely change. The first season, it threw me off because it's like, well, this is completely different. Like he threw out all his source material, but the thing that makes it okay, and the thing that makes it different from what you're explaining in Star Wars here, is story is the number one thing. So really, it's like 10 really, really, really good stories that are just like loosely connected. The connections are good enough to make the story go on, and if you like suspension for disbelief in those moments, everything else about it works. And the difference with The Mandalorian here is like you have to go through like 4 episodes from what you're saying before the guy that you actually want to watch, or the part that makes it interesting, is there, and it's like, what did I just waste 4 hours for?
That's a good example, because like in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the writer really admires like kind of a lot of Western culture. A lot of it's like Western inspired, because it's like one that was like a murder mystery, and one was like a literally like Indiana Jones. You go off and do stuff. So there's a lot of like inspirations there. It's like, I want to write a good this type of story, like a good jailbreak story. I want to write that, and then he uses his characters to enable that to happen. And then I think what Disney did is the opposite. It's like, we have all these characters, and you need to have this character and this character and this character, make a story out of it. And it's like, and it also has to have these story plots in it. And it's just, that doesn't work.
Yeah. And that's the problem with Boba Fett. And that's like the difference between like somebody that wants to focus on just story and character development, and somebody that just has a bunch of like IPs or like collection of things that they just like, all right, I don't really care, just make it work.
It all needs to go together.
All right, there you go, Daniel. There's your clip. Take that one.